Have you ever felt betrayed by your own body, sitting there after a meal you believed was perfectly safe, only to watch your glucose numbers climb like a cruel reminder that nothing you do is enough? I know that feeling well, because I have sat across from countless patients who looked at me with tears of frustration in their eyes, wondering why skipping dessert, counting every gram of starch, and following the rules still left them punished. The truth is that what hurts most is not only the number on the screen, it is the silent voice inside whispering that you are broken. That belief is dangerous, because fear itself can raise stress hormones, and those hormones push your sugar even higher. It becomes a vicious loop, one that leaves you exhausted, anxious, and ashamed after meals that should have brought comfort. Research from the Centers for Disease Control has shown that sudden glucose swings strain the pancreas, weaken the heart, and even injure the tiny vessels that keep memory sharp. This is why so many of my patients describe waking up more tired than when they went to bed, or why they feel foggy and restless even after what looked like a healthy dinner. I want you to hear this clearly. Your body is not broken. It is simply older, carrying decades of experience, and its chemistry has changed. What worked for you in your 30s will not always serve you in your 60s. That is not your fault. The hopeful truth is that your body still wants to heal, and there are ways to help it do so. Hidden in plain sight are simple foods that act like gentle tools, slowing the flood of sugar and calming the storm inside your blood. These are not miracle drugs, but they are safe, affordable, and already waiting in your kitchen. Their strength lies in patience and consistency, not quick fixes. The advantage is that they blend into meals you already enjoy and begin to ease the strain almost immediately. The limitation is that they are not a substitute for your prescribed care, and using them carelessly can cause discomfort. But when used wisely, they offer not only steadier numbers but also the comfort of knowing you are no longer helpless. In a moment, I will show you the first of these tools, a spice with a fragrance you may already know. One that has quietly changed the lives of people who thought nothing could help them anymore. You are not the problem, and your body is not broken. I have met so many people who carry guilt after every meal, convinced that if only they had been stronger or more disciplined, their sugar would not rise. That belief is heavy, and it is wrong. The truth is that the body changes with age. Hormones shift, and the very foods that once seemed harmless can now release sugar into your blood too quickly. What makes this even harder is the silence of it all. On the outside, your plate looks clean, yet inside your bloodstream, the surge is already beginning. But here is where I want to give you hope. Some of the most effective tools I have seen do not come from a prescription pad. They come from the ordinary kitchen shelf. These are not miracle pills or late-night gimmicks. They are familiar spices that your grandmother may have used without ever knowing the science behind them. Modern studies published by institutions such as the National Institutes of Health have confirmed that compounds in certain spices can slow the enzymes that break down starch, ease inflammation, and make insulin more effective at guiding sugar into your cells. That means your next meal does not have to be followed by fear. The advantage is clear. These foods are safe, natural, affordable, and already within your reach. The limitation is just as important to hear. They are not replacements for your prescribed care. Their effects are gentler than drugs, and they work best when you use them consistently. What matters is not perfection, but the courage to try. In a moment, I will take you to the first of these ingredients, a spice that smells like winter holidays, yet holds a secret strength for every season of your life. Most of us have been taught to believe that the real answers to high blood sugar come only from a pharmacy shelf. Yet in my years of practice, I have learned that some of the most powerful allies hide in plain sight. They are the same spices your grandmother may have used in a stew or slipped into holiday baking, never knowing that inside those small pieces of bark and bulb were compounds strong enough to steady a rushing bloodstream. This is the twist I want you to hear. Two simple foods, already familiar to you, can slow the release of sugar after a meal, calm the inflammation that drives insulin resistance, and give your body the quiet support it needs to recover its balance. They are not miracle pills, and they will never excuse you from the care your doctor prescribes. What they can offer is relief, safety, and the comfort of knowing that nature has not left you helpless. Research published by the National Institutes of Health has shown that these foods can blunt the activity of digestive enzymes, meaning starches are broken down more slowly, while at the same time improving the way insulin opens the door of your cells to receive sugar. The advantage of this path is that it is gentle, affordable, and accessible to anyone with a kitchen. The limitation is that it is not instant, it demands patience, and too much can cause discomfort. Still, when woven into ordinary meals, they have given many of my patients steadier mornings, calmer nights, and the courage to believe in healing again. Tonight I will begin with the first of these two spices, a fragrant bud you may have ignored in the back of your pantry, yet it holds a secret strength that can change the way you feel after your very next meal. For so many years, we have been told that the only way to manage diabetes is through prescriptions and rigid diets, as if the body could only be tamed by something sealed in a pharmacy bottle. Yet after decades of listening to patients and watching the same patterns repeat, I have come to see that some of the most effective answers are not locked away in a lab. They are waiting quietly in your own kitchen, hidden in plain sight, in foods so ordinary you may have passed them by without a second thought. Tonight, I want to share with you two of these humble ingredients. They are not exotic powders or miracle supplements. They are familiar spices, the kind your grandmother might have used to flavor a meal, never realizing that inside them were compounds capable of shifting the way the body processes sugar. I will explain each of them to you clearly: how they work inside your bloodstream, how they slow the release of sugar, how they calm the inflammation that drives insulin resistance, and how to use them safely without upsetting your stomach or clashing with the medicine your doctor has prescribed. The beauty of these foods is that they are simple, affordable, and gentle enough to become part of your daily routine without turning your life upside down. The limitation, and I must say this with honesty, is that they are not magic. They will not erase the need for care. They will not replace your treatment plan, and they will only reward you if you are willing to use them with patience and consistency. What gives me confidence is not only my years of practice, but the science behind it. Researchers at respected institutions such as the National Institutes of Health and the Mayo Clinic have documented that compounds found in these spices can blunt post-meal sugar spikes and improve insulin sensitivity in measurable ways. What inspires me even more is watching real people transform this science into practice. I have seen men and women go from restless nights and exhausting mornings to a steadier rhythm of energy simply by weaving these ingredients into ordinary meals. That is why this channel exists. Not to hand you empty promises or quick fixes, but to return power to you in ways that are real, natural, and lasting. If you are weary of gimmicks and frustrated by solutions that never hold, then you are in the right place. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you could be the beginning of a new chapter in your relationship with food and with your own health. The first of these hidden allies is one you may have walked past in the spice aisle 100 times without a second thought. It is the clove, a small dried flower bud that most people remember only as a holiday scent tucked into a pie or simmered in cider. Yet inside this tiny bud lies a compound called eugenol, and eugenol has been shown in repeated studies to change the way your body faces sugar. It works by slowing the enzymes in your gut that break down starch, which means that instead of a sudden flood of glucose rushing into your blood, the release is slower and gentler. At the same time, eugenol helps your insulin work more effectively, allowing your cells to open their doors and receive sugar with less resistance. That is why some of my patients who had struggled for years with unpredictable spikes began to notice calmer numbers simply by weaving a pinch of clove into their routine. But clove offers more than sugar control. It carries anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties, giving support not only to your blood, but also to your immune system. The advantage of clove is clear. It is affordable, it is easy to find, and it can slip naturally into meals or even a simple evening tea. The limitation is just as real. Too much can irritate your stomach, and it may interfere with certain medications if used carelessly. Moderation is not just a suggestion. It is the key to turning clove from a holiday flavor into a daily helper. I will never forget one gentleman who began stirring a small pinch into his evening tea. Within weeks, his morning readings were steadier, his sleep less restless, and his confidence returned. This was not magic. It was his body responding to a gentle nudge rather than a harsh shove. In a moment, we will turn to the second ingredient, one even more common than clove, sitting in nearly every kitchen drawer, and yet carrying a quiet strength of its own. The second ingredient is one that almost every household in America keeps within reach, a food so ordinary we forget its quiet strength. It is the onion. Most people remember it only for the tears it brings when sliced. Yet inside that humble bulb lies a gift that can protect the heart, calm inflammation, and steady the rise of sugar after meals. Onion is rich in quercetin, a natural antioxidant that eases the stress inside your blood vessels, and sulfur compounds that support better blood flow and improve the sensitivity of your cells to insulin. This means that with something as simple as a slice of onion, your body can move sugar more smoothly into your cells and reduce the strain that diabetes places on the heart. Scientists at respected institutions have documented that regular onion consumption is linked to better circulation, lower markers of inflammation, and improved glucose control. I have watched patients discover this in the simplest ways. One woman began adding thin slices of raw onion to her evening salad. Within weeks, she noticed steadier mornings, less midday fatigue, and a greater sense of control over her numbers. The advantage of onion is that it is inexpensive, available in every grocery store, and versatile enough to fit into soups, sandwiches, or salads without effort. The limitation, and it must be spoken with care, is that too much can irritate the stomach, and it may interfere with blood thinners, which makes moderation and medical guidance essential. What matters is not a perfect diet, but the steady inclusion of small choices that your body can lean on day after day. And when you see onion not as a tearful nuisance but as a quiet ally, it changes the way you look at your dinner plate. In a moment, I will bring together the strength of onion and clove and show you how these two humble foods can be woven into daily life in a way that is both safe and powerful. Now that you have seen the hidden strength of clove and onion, I want you to imagine what can happen when these two simple foods become part of your daily table. Each on its own carries remarkable benefits. Clove, with its eugenol, slows the rush of sugar and helps insulin unlock the doors of your cells. Onion, rich in quercetin and sulfur, calms the inflammation that weakens blood vessels and supports smoother blood flow. But when they are woven together into ordinary meals, they create a partnership that works gently in the background, easing the spikes that exhaust your body and protecting the heart that carries you through every day. I remember one couple who began sprinkling a pinch of clove into their evening tea and adding slices of onion to their salad. They were not expecting miracles, but over time they both noticed mornings that felt steadier, nights that felt calmer, and a sense of control that had been missing for years. That is the beauty of this path. You do not have to chase exotic powders or spend money on supplements that promise the world and deliver little. These foods are already in your kitchen, waiting quietly for you to notice their power. The advantage is that they are safe in moderation, affordable, and part of culinary traditions that have stood the test of centuries. The limitation is that they cannot replace the treatment plan you and your doctor have agreed upon, and they require patience rather than quick fixes. Still, I have seen with my own eyes that when people invite clove and onion into their meals, the body often responds with gratitude in the form of steadier sugar, calmer energy, and renewed hope. In a moment, I will show you how to take this knowledge and turn it into a daily rhythm you can count on for the long term. As we close this time together, I want to leave you with one clear truth. Living with diabetes does not mean surrendering your future. Too many people have been told that aging brings only decline, that their best days are behind them, and that all they can do is wait for the numbers to grow worse. I have seen the opposite. I have watched men and women reclaim energy, strength, and peace of mind by leaning on choices so small they almost seemed invisible. Clove and onion are simple foods, yet they carry within them compounds that can calm sugar spikes, ease inflammation, and protect the heart. When you stir a pinch of clove into your tea or add slices of onion to your salad, you are not just seasoning your food. You are sending a message to your body that you still care, that you are still fighting, and that balance is possible. The advantage of this path is its honesty. It does not promise overnight miracles, but it does give you tools that are natural, affordable, and woven into daily life. The limitation is that it requires patience and consistency, and it must always be guided by the care plan you and your doctor have agreed upon. But that is how real healing works. It grows day by day, meal by meal, choice by choice. If what you have heard tonight has given you even a spark of hope, I invite you to stay close. Subscribe to this channel, share it with someone you love, and leave a comment so I know your voice is here. We will walk this path together, uncovering more ways to bring back balance, dignity, and strength to the years ahead. You are not alone, and your story is still being written.